I presume everybody knows who Nelson Mandela is. You know, I presented this to a group of my students at TU yesterday, freshmen, and I was surprised that they said, well, I think he was the president of South Africa. And then I realized that I'm old because they weren't born yet when he was released from prison. So that what they're studying is Nelson Mandela. But I thought that was a powerful statement. And if you've received any emails from Kathy, you probably saw this. And can you see it back there? Is it too small? Okay, it says, if a child can't learn the way we teach, maybe we should teach them the way they learn. And quite honestly, for the last 37 years, that's what I've been doing. And then all of a sudden, they started calling it differentiated instruction. And so we have a buzzword for it. Okay. This is from South Africa. Teach the students you have, not the ones you wish you have. Okay. When I started teaching in '73, my freshmen could not add fractions. So of course the 8th grade teachers didn't do a good job, right? That was not the case at all. I had my students, some were way up here, some were way down here, and everything in the middle, and I had to find a way to bring them up to where they were supposed to be. Okay. This is from this former president of the PCTM, Pennsylvania Council. You know, think a minute for a second. Okay. You sometimes feel like that? Okay. All right. And this one's mine. And I used to have this great big long thing that says just average, and you've probably read The Average Kid. Teachers can't expect that much out of me because everybody knows I'm just average, and I don't agree with that. So, okay. We're not quite ready to start yet, but let's talk about what is the goal or objective when you're teaching. And specifically what I'm talking about is, what do you expect from your students? This is where I would pause and wait. What do you expect from your students? You're teaching why Hawaii, when Hawaii became a state. 49th state? Or you're talking about the elections and who's telling the truth. I don't think, it's hard to, you know. Yeah, we'll diverge from that. But what do you expect from your students?
They learn the material.
They learn the material. What does that mean, learn the material? No, you just threw it out. We'll let somebody else figure it out. What do you mean by learn the material?
To absorb all my wisdom.
Ah, I like that. Absorb all your wisdom. Okay. So learn the material, absorb all your wisdom.
Apply what they've learned.
Apply what they've learned. Show that they've actually can use it in some capacity. Okay. These are some of the students I've worked with. Youngsters become frustrated and disengaged in school systems that cannot meet their educational, emotional, mental, intellectual needs. You've all experienced those students? I've worked with probably about 9,000 students in my career, and all 9,000 of them fit this at some point during the day or the week. Okay. Okay, now I got to diverge a little bit. Am I still on right here? Okay. I'm going to show you a couple pictures that are alarming, so I just want to prepare you in advance. But I'm also a whitewater rafting guide in Laurel Highlands River Tours in Pennsylvania. For the last 29 years, I've been the instructor that's trained all the guides. And it was my material that I worked with 7 different companies and got their materials and put it all together into our material. And here's what one of the goals was: throw a rope. Seems pretty easy, right? Okay, so I'm going to show them how I do it with the throw rope or with the throw bag. And if that doesn't make any sense, that's okay, but throwing a rope and holding on to one end, okay? And some people couldn't do it the way I did it. I learned that very quickly back in 1983. They couldn't throw it the way I threw it. Well, that's okay, I guess. Do you agree? It's okay if they don't do it? As long as they can make sure this guy gets unhooked. Oh. Okay, where's it at? Okay, let's put this on the other side. Okay, I can't.
Yeah, now you moved it to the right.
Okay. I don't see, I wanted to, this is the advanced. Let's bring it back. Hang on. I don't know what to do. Because if I'm on that side, and it's on this side, okay, but I want my picture back. Yeah, here we go. Okay, there you go. This is a gentleman that fell out of his raft at Cucumber Rapid, the second rapid on the river. Tried to stand up. When he stood up, his foot, right at the wrong time, his foot went underneath the rock. He now has a broken tibial fibula, and he's now face down in the water. Does it matter if they throw the rope the way I throw it? As long as they can get that rope across the river and get somebody out on the rope. We had a successful rescue here. Because we're trained to do that, and we got 30 seconds to make a decision, and less than 30 seconds after that to get them out. And then things go bad. And so how I do it isn't what's important, it's how they do it isn't what's important. As long as their skill level is okay to do it. They must have learned something. They must have got some of my wisdom, and then they could apply it their way. Okay. The second thing is, this is my daughter. My daughter Elizabeth is, well, she's 28. She's a social worker in Pittsburgh at the University of Pittsburgh Hospital. And she does things her way ever since she was born and before. Okay? And come on in, have a party. But she has a tendency when she sees something to just go to it underwater when she's scuba diving. And sometimes I'm the recipient of her fin coming across my face and taking my mask off. All right? So when I teach people in scuba diving how to put the mask on, I'm showing them how I do it. And then I say, you need to find your way of doing it, and then do it 1,000 times. So does it matter, again, if they do it my way? I'm gently going down. There we go. Does it matter if they do it my way or not? As long as they've learned something and they can apply the wisdom, and at 40 feet underwater they can do something that's, okay? All right, so now you know a little bit about me. I do some crazy things, I guess. And technology is great. This could be bad. Let me stop a second and see where I'm at. Okay, let me move this over. Go up to here. So differentiating means tailoring instruction to meet the individual needs. And we've got about 26 people in the room. We're going to try to do that in the next hour or so. Try to give everybody at least one thing. Actually, we're going to come up with about 30 different ideas, but hopefully one of them makes sense to you that you'll be able to apply in your classroom. So differentiation means tailoring instruction to meet individual needs. Responding to the needs of all the learners. I read an article last night. I'm not sure, maybe it was in preparation for this, or maybe I was dreaming, but it was about my first year of teaching, and a guy writing a story about it, and his 26 students in his classroom, and every one of them he felt was a different style of learner. You'll see it on the video in a little bit. I got two short videos, one 3-minute, one 2 minutes. You'll see in a sec. But he first says, 26 students, they all learn differently, so I have to have 26 different lesson plans. No? Okay, you agree with me, okay. All right, Carol Thomason comes up a lot. Anybody familiar with her? Okay, so you've Googled her too, or you've gone to some of her performance or concerts, or books, okay. And I didn't know if I was going to have internet, so I've got two different things here. So let's just use the clip here. We'll go full screen here in a second. It's a 3-minute clip.
I know in my own teaching, one of the things that was really important to me was to stop looking at my class as a group and start looking at them as individuals and realizing that it was not even feasible that exactly the same experience was happening for all those kids when we did something in the classroom. Really to kind of look at them with the notion that they come to us with different language backgrounds, certainly with different genders, with different degrees of security, with different past experiences in school, with different levels of self-confidence about the subject, with different peer relationships, a thousand things that can intervene in there to affect what happens in a teaching and learning situation. And so for me, differentiation kind of begins when I actually just can make myself look eyeball to eyeball with what's really a pretty scary reality, and that is that room full of kids is different from each other. And those differences make a difference. And if I want to do the best job of teaching that I can spend a pretty good chunk of my career trying to understand those differences and respond to those differences. It's not something you do on a day. It's a commitment to say I can look harder, I can look beneath the surface, I can understand a few more things, I can peel back a little more of the surface than I've been able to do before. And to the degree that I can acknowledge and accept those differences and then start working with them as a part of my teaching plan, I'll probably do better. That for me is sort of the genesis of differentiation, I guess. And so then, for me, differentiation becomes responsive teaching rather than one-size-fits-all teaching. I've looked at the kids, I really understand that the differences they bring shape who they are. And in fact, it's actually, to me, why teaching's interesting. I'd hate to get the same set of widgets in every hour of every day for 35 years. What's so cool is that they are so different from each other, and that they do bring that element of unpredictability with them. And if I really look at those differences and can really wrap around the fact that those differences matter, then at some point, hopefully, what I'm going to do is say to myself, you know what? When I teach, I have to respond to those differences. I can't look past them. I have to look at them, and I have to plan with them in mind. That doesn't mean that we jettison the content that we're responsible for. Clearly, we have major responsibilities for content that has important implications for kids, even if you overlook the test part. What it means is we quit just teaching content, and we become keenly aware that we have to teach content to human beings, and in order to transfer that content so that it becomes a part of their lives, we have to teach it to individuals rather than just teach it. And I think that's a hard thing. I think it's a hard thing. I think it's hard enough to just cover the content. That seems beyond us most days because it has to happen so fast and there's so much of it. But differentiation suggests that to get it right, if all we care about is making sure that kids learn, we have to teach individuals the content, and we have to make sure that it's working for them.
Okay. All right. Now, through the next hour or so, I'm going to get some responses from you. And I think the way it's set up here, I'm not sure why there's 9 people at one table and 4 at another, but that's okay. So we'll just go by tables. 4. So I'll expect a response from each table as we're going through this. And you've got paper to write on. That's not going to be turned in, okay? But here's my first thing. I want you to take a few minutes, and this is kind of a buzzword at Lourdes University. Think, pair, share. Whoops, I'm supposed to stay over here. Okay, so I want you to think for a few seconds about what does differentiated instruction mean to you right now, and then in your group of 4, 5, 3, 9, come up with one idea that we can put on the board. I'll give you a minute, 2 minutes. Over here on the right.
We said we need to teach to the individual.
Teach to the individual. Whoa. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, I'm ready.
We decided it's taking each individual student that comes to you at the level they're at, whether it's here.
So greet them, take them where they're at, and then move them ahead. Okay? That's spelled wrong. I think you said take it from where they're at to the next level. Okay. Front row.
Being aware of the pace individuals learn, adjust instructional methods.
Adjust instructional methods to the student.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Go to the right.
Say it again.
It's that gray bar there, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I'm at.
Oh, it's not. It must not be.
Okay. Group here.
We say varying instruction, but also varying how the children give it back, right?
Vary instruction and this has to work, right? There we go. Let me extend it a little bit. And how, say it again, how students,
How the students give it back.
and vary how the students give it back. Okay? Eileen? Go ahead, your group.
We pretty much said those last two, only with different synonyms.
Okay, so you agree with the last two?
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah, ours is pretty much been said, responding and teaching to individuals rather than groups.
Responding and teaching, say it again.
To the individuals. Rather than groups.
And the group. Okay. Anybody remember their first year of teaching? We knew everything, didn't we? You guys just pay attention. I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, yeah. Okay. And we got one more group, right? Do I have 6? We have 6. Okay. Good. We've got an idea of what it is. Let me add one little more piece of information. Okay.
Morning, Carey.
Hi, Pat. How are you today?
Not good at all. I have such a diverse group of learners, and many of my students have individualized education plans and special needs. I don't know how to teach so that everyone is learning.
Well, that does sound challenging. Have you tried using differentiated instruction?
No, what is that?
Differentiated instruction is a way to go about teaching material, assessing students' progress, and motivating each child to learn. How do you teach all the diverse learners in your class now?
Well, they all have such different learning styles and they are all on such different levels. So, I plan an individualized lesson for each and every one of them based on what they can do.
Doesn't that get exhausting? Differentiated instruction is much more than individualized instruction. You definitely should make adaptations and accommodations to your lesson plan, keeping each learner in mind, but making 22 separate lesson plans isn't efficient.
You're right. It is exhausting. Maybe I should just group all the kids by ability and then teach each group one at a time to make it easier on myself.
No, that isn't good practice either. Differentiated instruction is more than homogeneous groupings. In fact, it is effective to make groups of mixed ability so that the advanced students and struggling students can learn from each other and help each other in this own proximal development.
That does sound smart. And once they're in their mixed ability groupings, and I can help the struggling kids feel smart by asking them easy questions, and make the advanced kids feel challenged by asking them hard questions.
Differentiated instruction is much more than a hierarchy of simple to complex questions. With differentiated instruction, every child will be able to answer any question you ask with the right support.
Wow, looks like I have a lot to learn about differentiated instruction.
Well, start by taking a look around this website. You will find some valuable information about universal design for learning, collaboration with teachers and families, strategies for both advanced and struggling learners, and links to a ton of great resources. Then, come into my classroom and I can show you differentiated instruction in practice.
Thanks, Carey.
Okay. I don't know, did the music put you to sleep? Okay. Did you add to your definition of differentiation instruction on anything you heard there?
Well, it's not just grouping.
I knew if I waited long enough, somebody'd say something. It's just not regrouping, okay? What else? What did you think about the beginning when he said, I'm teaching 22 different students, so I'd need to have 22 different lesson plans. And then he said, well, if I just group them by their abilities. So what are your thoughts on grouping them not by their abilities, but maybe by their height? No. I've done that before. I lined them up in a room and took the tallest, shortest, and two in the middle. Isn't that the same as A, D, B, C? That's one group. How many have done that before? Not by height, but by grades? Oh, how do you group? Randomly? Okay, randomly group. How else?
By their birthday.
By their birthdays, okay. Or height, okay. Or amount of hair. Color of hair. All kinds of weighted groups. How often do you change groups? So if you grouped them by hair lengths, they'd be changed only once a quarter? Oh, okay. Let me go through a few examples of where I think it's differentiated instruction, and it's something I've used in my classrooms sometime in the last 37 years. And it's also some things I remember from 5th grade, which was a long time ago. Okay? Let's ask this question. Can you see this in the back? Okay. Let me bump the I think we bumped the projector coming in. I had it down here set. Let me orient it again. Okay. Okay. So sorry. What am I asking for? Multiply two binomials. Okay? And how many know how to do it? 4 people, 5 people, 6 people, 7 people? Okay. How many remember FOIL? How many remember how many remember the box method? Ooh. How many remember the distributive method? A couple of you. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking you're telling me. FOIL, and if this is not, correct me, that would be first, outside, inside, last. So FOIL. Okay. And then we'd add all the terms together. Is that correct? So x times x would be x squared. And then x times 2 would be 2x. And 3 times x would be 3x. And 3 times 2 is 6, and we add them together. Here's my question for you. Is there another way of doing it? All right, back there, I saw you shaking your head. Go ahead. Oh, you're just agreeing there's another way. X, 3 plus 2, okay? X plus 3, x plus 2. Could I do this? Isn't that the same thing, but the arrows are different? Okay. Marianne Dociani, do you remember her? Come on, some of you are old enough to remember her. She wrote all the algebra books in the 60s and it carried over to like mid-90s. Mary Dociani. And you always had to have one chapter on word problems, and the rest of the book was a bunch of facts. Okay? So she taught the FOIL technique and revolutionized the world. That's the same thing. My students call that the clam it method, because it looks like a clamshell. That was okay with me. How about, I didn't hear anybody say the box method. X plus 3, X plus 2, and multiplied these two. You've seen this before. And then you add them up again, right? Okay. One more thing here. So multiplying to the box method is something, some of my students like that, and that's all they use. Some like FOIL, that's all they use. Some like the distributive property, some like the clam it method. It doesn't matter to me, as long as they get the mask on and clear it when they're underwater. Objective for the next 2 hours or 10 minutes. I'm just moving down. I want to talk about, let's see if I can make this bigger. No. I want to talk about differentiated instruction with Gardner's 8 multiple intelligences. Actually, you're going to help me. And I want to talk about Bloom's taxonomy, the 6 levels of gaining knowledge, and how it relates to differentiated instruction. Maybe some instruction strategies that you already are using that we can share with each other on how you differentiate in your classroom. Then I want, well, for teaching differently, maybe we should assess differently. Does that make sense? Let's not just give them a form test. If we're teaching differently, maybe we should test differently, assess differently. And then maybe, what new behavior should you model? Ooh, got to change something. All right, so let's get started. Real quick, you guys are going to give me a definition, or let's do this. If your student exhibited this intelligence according to Gardner, I don't know why I'm saying Gardner, what would you expect to find? So this group, you guys have bodily kinesthetic. Next group is interpersonal. I'm going to skip that next one, go to logical, mathematical on the last there. Over here on the right, musical, rhythmic, naturalist, and you guys have visual, spatial. All I want to know is some characteristics of each. If they were a bodily kinesthetic learner.
They would be acting out something or using manipulative.
Active, manipulatives, movement, got to have some movement, okay? Interpersonal.
Like to work in a group.
Okay, they're very social people. Like to work in a group, okay? Logical, mathematical.
They see things differently than other people. They don't understand why other people don't see it the way they do. It's all up here. They don't need any of that other outside.
Are you like telling me I'm wrong in some things?
This is my daughter.
Okay. Okay, musical, rhythmic. Oh, that wasn't yours. That was?
Yep. They learn things using songs and little bitty.
Rhymes and limericks. Okay. Verbal linguistic. Was that yours? Naturalist. What was it? Naturalist.
Sorry. The outdoorsy type likes bugs, wears boots, likes science, and very hands-on.
Okay. All right, I like that. And very organized in this way he characterizes things. Okay. And verbal spatial, visual spatial.
We like good reading, diagrams, work with pictures.
I want to look at, we'll get a topic here in a second. I want to look at verbal linguistics, so we didn't talk about that yet. I want to look at verbal linguistics, and I want to know what kind of instructional strategies you might use. I'm going to give you a minute or so at your table to come up with some ideas of how we could teach this topic differently using your strategies. Okay, who drove the farthest to get here? Okay, Fremont. Give me a topic that you're going to teach tomorrow in school. Math, okay, that's pretty, one of those. We'll stay with math. Okay. Say it again? Missing addends in math. Okay. Missing addends. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. Missing add-ins is our topic. They could draw some pictures, right? That'd be an instructional strategy. I want you to draw a picture, maybe that foil thing, maybe that box thing, or come up with your own ideas there. Maybe they could make a diagram how they're going to add and find those. What I want you to come up with now is some more ideas of what you could do to teach a lesson to 26 different people who all learn differently using Gardner's visual linguistics descriptions.
Visual or verbal?
Verbal linguistics. Did I say visual? Oops. Okay. Ooh. Okay, okay. So, you speak, they speak. All right, that's good. Say it to them, they'll bring it back to you. Straight across.
As you're doing, like, say, putting 3 students up there, say, okay, now these 3 students, 1, 2, 3, they can, like, verbalize what your thoughts are and how to do it.
Okay, so they're going to come up one at a time, and they're going to walk, or they're going to solve the problem, identify as they're talking through it.
Correct.
Okay, so they're going to talk through the problem. Talk through the problem. Okay, another one.
We had to put it in a story problem.
Story problem. What are those? That's okay. I understand. Story problems. Okay. Okay. Let me slide down. Okay. Another one. Back in the back. Oh, you already said something, right?
I said step-by-step directions using keywords so they can keep that out.
Step by step. And then they repeat back. Is that what you said?
Sharing with each other.
Share with each other. Okay, share. Okay. Okay. Now, let me change it just a little bit. Let's go to bodily kinesthetics. Let's keep the same topic. Add-ins. Take a couple minutes. Take a minute or so. What would you change to teach add-ins for the student who's a bodily kinesthetic learner? But now we have a bodily kinesthetic learner. Who didn't get a chance to respond to the last question? Everybody responded. Okay, let's just go around the room. All the way starting in the back. Go for it.
If it's small enough, some, we start using their fingers to start with some.
Okay, all right. So using their manipulate their fingers. Okay, so use hands or fingers. Okay. Another one. Carol?
Act it out.
Act it out. Act it out, okay?
Use manipulatives.
Use manipulatives, okay? Okay, what else?
Moving while you're learning. Hula hoop, jump rope.
Hula hoop, jump rope, okay, movement. And you said like hula hoops and jump ropes? Okay. Did I get one more? One more? One more? No mores. Okay, that's good enough. How about this? How about this? Create some kind of a model where they have to physically put it together. All right? How about let them be a mime for a day? M-I-M-E, a mime, and act things out without speaking. All right? How about work through some kind of simulation that you've created? And they have to work through the simulation to get to it. Okay? I bet we could come up with 50 more things if we spent just another hour on one topic. But we don't have that time. And so here's what I'm going to ask you to do now. I gave you each a Gardner, one of Gardner's things. Who did I give bodily kinesthetic? Okay, unfortunately you have to change to intrapersonal. Okay? Here's what I want you to do. We're gonna pick a topic different than add-ins. I don't think everybody likes math. I don't know why. I can't understand that. Let's pick something in the junior high level. Maybe junior high social studies. Junior high social studies. Give me a topic. What? Supply and demand.
Soccer.
What?
Leaders.
Colonies? Supply and demand colonies. Okay.
Iroquois.
Okay. Okay, so here we go. This is going to be supply demand colonies. We're going to combine the two ideas. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. Using the Gardner's intelligence that you were assigned earlier, except for you are interpersonal now, I want you to come up with a minimum of 3. Come up with 3 of the best ideas you can come up with how to teach that topic, either supply and demand and colonies, to students who exhibit the behavior, the intelligence that you were given. Okay? 3 different ways. Steps up here. We're just going to walk through them now. Who had interpersonal? Inter. All right. You have a student that we said likes to work in groups, is very social. How are you going to work with those students with supply and demand or colonies? Here we go.
One of them they can do is like with the baseball cards. You can give them a variety of baseball cards so that they have players that they know, and like they have to trade them and try to get the best one. And then like maybe for that high one, they would trade like 3 cards instead of just
So create a game out of baseball cards.
for the supply and demand.
Okay? Create a game out of the baseball cards. Create game. Okay? Second one? Second one?
We've also talked about like having a store with it, like setting up a store so that like say each one was representing colonies.
Okay, so set up 13 stores.
Well, each like small group.
Small groups. Okay, set up groups, stores. Okay. You're probably nobody's going to want this handout. And the third one. Third one. Didn't come up with a third one? How about if we don't write it down? How about if they surveyed some of the other classes to see what they would think about the colonies coming together? How about if they use cooperative groups? How about if they talked and dialogued amongst the group about something, about the topic, or discuss and come to some? They got to come to a conclusion. Discuss the good or the bad of supply and demand, and come to a conclusion and state it. A lot of things we could do there. Okay, hit the right arrow, the arrow pointing to the right. Okay, intrapersonal.
We want to wait till everybody else goes, because we said really for interpersonal you could use any of the other areas and just kind of do it alone by yourself.
Okay, so you want to wait till the end?
Yeah.
Okay, go to the next one.
See if we can really
Logical mathematics. Okay, 3 of the best.
feel that.
Wait. Let me guess. I asked for 3, so that's all you gave me. Okay. Give me the best 3.
They would take the data from the interpersonal group and chart it. Whatever data was gathered from the colony.
Whatever data was gathered from the colony, and
They would make charts of it.
make charts out of it. Okay, make charts. Okay.
They would make a prioritized list to prepare and plan for a colonization or pioneer.
Okay.
trip.
Prioritize a list. Okay.
And then they would map that trip out.
And map the trip where they were going. Good.
And for the supply and demand, we have them make and sell products such as hardware personalization store that they would design and.
Okay. Good. I throw a couple ideas. How about develop some type of rationale for doing this. Develop a, analyze the situation, like the Oregon Trail.
That's what I said.
Analyze that situation. We're down, we have to make a decision. Do we kill our brother or do we eat? And that's some of that game. Okay, all right, next one. Music, rhythmic. Okay?
One of our ideas was maybe at the end of the unit, we focused on the supply and demand. And the kids have to, if we have key points that they need to know, we would put the kids into groups and they have to come up with a song parody.
Okay. So create some kind of song.
Yeah, that with a popular song that changes words.
Okay. Okay. Song parody, good. Second one? A rap song, okay. Third one?
Music sales like CDs and supply and demand pricing of CDs that they listen to.
Oh, okay, so that would go more with the math, but I agree with what you said. How about it said rhythmic also, so maybe they could create some kind of dance and act out something. Write a poem, put together some things. Select music or poems, which you said in rap music. Create some kind of advertising jingle. Okay? All right. Supply and demand. You're getting good at this now. Okay. Hit the right arrow. The Naturalist. Was that Yoons? Okay.
I don't know if you quite understood. As a wobbly kinesthetic auditory learner, I was lost.
Okay, so this wasn't your cup of tea.
This is not my cup of tea.
Okay.
No, so we had some stuff about, like, if they're naturalists, following the tracks and stuff to see where the food sources are and that type of stuff.
Okay, that's good. So looking for food sources.
Okay, trade with the Indians and stuff, and that was as far as at least I got.
Okay.
We were gonna tie it in like to a field trip, so go outside, actually look for resources that the colonists would have used.
Okay, examine what's available. Go outside. Here it is. We're out in the woods. What do you got? And then analyze and characterize where you're going to put them all. Okay? I could help you coordinate that. What about, I think the naturalists also like to categorize things. I'm thinking like the phylums and the kingdoms and all that stuff. So maybe with supply and demand, maybe there's a top dog and then there's something else below it. And now you rate those things. You've classified the order. Okay? All right. Much better writing than I was doing. Okay, we got to go back to intra now, right?
Yeah, I mean, we keep going back to.
Did I skip you guys?
They can pretty much do any of those things, just they prefer to probably do it on their own. So, learn a song, play the Oregon Trail game.
So work by themselves and everything we've talked about so far. Okay. Do a PowerPoint. You've created a PowerPoint. Create a computer. Do a journal of what you think it would be. Put a puzzle together. Make a connection between the past and your experiences. Tying that intra, that inside person. Okay? Good. What was yours?
Visual spatial.
Visual spatial. Do I not have that on there? I hit the add button below it. Plus sign. Visual spatial.
We said like maybe create a cartoon based on maybe a dialogue between the two parties.
Okay.
PowerPoint presentation, graphing using commodities. And what
Okay.
they have
Okay. Using color to highlight good and bad. No, we do black and red for things. PowerPoint. Create a mural or display. Simply draw a picture. I like the idea of a cartoon. Okay. Yeah. Maybe for the next part, we won't use my slides. We'll just use a blank screen. Okay. I want to switch topics for a moment. I want to go to Bloom's taxonomy. Anybody remember the 6 basics? Go ahead and hit the screen once. Again. Okay. According to the chart, Bloom's taxonomy, basic level 1 learning is knowledge. Somebody tell me what that means. Rote memory, memorization. I was good at that. I was good at regurgitating facts. Did I learn it? I don't know. Number 2, second level, you had comprehension. Somebody explain that. Okay, you made eye contact. Yes. Say it again. Who, what, where, when. Okay, so they're starting to think of, here's the basic knowledge, but now they're starting to think and put it together. Who, what, where, why, when. Okay, application.
Apply knowledge to a different situation.
There you go. You take what you've learned and apply it. Now, I think of that on the river where we practice at one rapid, but we got 17 other rapids. So they got to take what they learned at this rapid and put it someplace else. Okay? And then all of a sudden, level 4, you're really getting deep now. Analysis. Why is it that way? Okay? I go with that. And then number 5, synthesis.
Putting many different parts together.
Taking all the parts and bringing them all together. Okay? And number 6.
Is it good that we did this?
Okay. Going back to my example at the very beginning about the rescue that we did, they had to have the basic knowledge. They had to understand why, when, and how, and all that stuff. Then they had to apply it. The analysis was, can they take it to another rapid? And then the synthesis was, we got 17, 18 rapids on the river, and I got to be able to take what I've learned and improvise and put it all together. And then finally, did it work? Okay? So now, we're going to take a topic and do the same thing we just did. And who wants number 1?
We did.
Yep, there you go, number 1. Number 2, level 2. Level 2. There you go, okay. Level 3. Back there, level 4. I'll make them bigger in a minute. Level 4. Analysis. Who wants number 4? Go for it. The topic hasn't been decided yet. Synthesis. All right, you girls have synthesis. Oh, synthesis. Oh, synthesis. Synthesis.
Well, I guess we'll take.
You got it. And evaluation. Who doesn't have one yet? You guys have evaluation back there. Okay, go to the next page. Just put a blank in. Put a blank in. Okay, we're on Darwin's theory, whatever you think that means. Okay, right now. And we're going to go through the levels 1 through 6. Knowledge. What kind of questions could you ask to get us started on the knowledge? Who had number 1? Okay.
Who's Darwin?
Who's Darwin? There we go. What else?
What was his theory?
What was his theory? Okay, what else?
What year did he come up with his theory?
Okay, some facts. So we're going down facts right down the road. Okay, what else?
Define evolution.
Define evolution, okay? That's good. How about which is true, which is false? Okay. Tell me in your own words what you think evolution is. All right, it's knowledge, basic knowledge. Okay.
Yes, that's what we thought. We thought comprehension.
Oh, so maybe I went too far with that one. I'm probably right. Okay, next one.
We're sorry.
Level 2. That's all right. Who had level 2 comprehension? Nah, that's why you jumped on that right away. Okay, I'm ready. What is it? Okay. Okay, in your own words, retell the story. Okay? Okay, did you get those 9 things? You spoke too fast. Say them again. What is evolution? Who is Darwin?
What is evolution? When did it happen and why?
When did it happen? Why? Okay. So who is the key characters? We know. Okay. Can you provide a definition of Can you provide a definition of evolution? Okay. Give me some examples. I've always wanted to go to Galapagos Islands. And according to the history, isn't that where he went and studied the finches and the tortoises and things like that? I've always wanted to go there. Okay, so we've gone from basic facts to maybe thinking a little bit about them, okay? Level 3, applying, application.
Take what they've learned and comprehend it and apply it possibly to a specific animal like alligators, crocodiles, whatever, because they were around during dinosaur age and bring it forward. How could they have survived?
How could they have survived
Yeah.
X thousands of years? Okay, all right, good. Was that all 3 of them in one sentence?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I teach kids.
Okay.
It's all one sentence.
Let me see if I can add something. Let me see if you can, how would you have organized the study if you were Darwin? How would you have organized the study of the finches or the alligators or how would you go about it from island to island that was there, and you were going from island and you saw different things? How would you have organized them? Which theory is most like? I'm not sure what to put in that blank. But again, applying what they've learned to something else. Okay. All right, next one, number 4. Analysis. Who had an analysis?
Yeah, we did. We're open to input.
Wait a minute, say it again.
We thought that was kind of hard. We had analysis. We kind of went with the whole Catholic teaching.
Okay.
Analyzing, how it goes along with the Catholic teaching.
Okay, that's fine. So give me an example, see what we can write. How does evolution go along with Catholic teachings? Okay, so that's one. We're getting deep now. What does evolution mean to you as an individual, as a Catholic? Okay, what else? Okay. What about this? What other conclusions could you reach about evolution that haven't been mentioned? Doesn't that require a little more thinking? Okay. What steps did Darwin say were important in the process of evolution? A little bit deeper than just asking a basic knowledge. Okay, number 5. Number 5. Wait a minute, she's still writing on number 4. Number 5, which is synthesis, pulling things together.
Well, maybe we were thinking you already have pictures pre-made of things of evolution, put them in a shoebox, pull them out, you have a timeline, and
I like that.
you look at, well, this goes before this, look at order.
Okay, look at the order, okay. Timeline, following an order of timeline, okay. What else?
How about a what if? Like, what if the dinosaurs were not extinct?
Comparing that to today, what if, taking an idea and putting it, what if the dinosaurs really are somewhere in the world we haven't discovered yet? Is that, okay, what else? Pulling other ideas together. What if? Can you develop an idea that will support your theory? Bringing more ideas together. If you were going to design the perfect creature, what would it be? Okay. All right, and one more. And then finally we get to the evaluation. What group hasn't spoken yet? Evaluation.
We used to take and present a mural or a PowerPoint or a presentation of all the steps of evolution, that being the picture part of it, and then they actually have to write information that goes along with the pictures and then actually present it verbally, their understanding of evolution.
Okay, so taking everything they've learned and convincing you that they know what they've learned. PowerPoint, you said 3 or 4 things here. PowerPoint, Prezi, which is like a PowerPoint, mural, okay? How about this? If you had a group of students that were studying evolution as it relates to creation, how about this? Which solution do you favor and why? Get an opinion on that? Which was better? What's the better bargain going down there? Okay. We've got a lot of ideas on just 2 concepts. Gardner's 8 intelligences, and Bloom's taxonomy. If you can read everything, we've produced about 20 things already on how we could teach 3 different topics differently, okay? Instead of maybe what we've been doing. So I think I want to switch topics now. Do we have a blank screen again? Okay. I think I want to switch topics and leave that and go to I got 7 pages in 30 minutes. So obviously some things are going to get left out here. But tell me some things that you presently do in your classroom that would enhance or assist a student in learning or thinking or producing. Examples. I presume that you've asked this question. Well, how'd you arrive at that answer? Or you've done wait time. I thought it was interesting. Wait time's so good. I shut up which is unusual for me, but I shut up a long time ago and waited, and finally somebody, I think you finally said, oh, that's long enough to wait. All right, but how long is wait time? 10 minutes? 10 seconds? 2 seconds? Okay. How about this one? Survey the class to see what's happening. There's a discussion on there. Think, pair, share, like we've been doing for the last hour. Tell me more about what you're thinking about. Tell me more about that idea. What do you do? What do you do? We're going to list some ideas that you do now. What do you do to enhance students' thinking ability? To get them thinking. Go ahead.
When I teach kindergarten, so when someone starts an answer and they're almost right but not quite, I'll say, well, they almost have it. Anybody want to add to it? So then different people will put their little 2 cents in so that they get the big picture, and maybe one of those things that they say will click with that slower learner or,
Okay.
you know.
Can you summarize that?
Adding information.
Adding information. Waiting for the students to add information. What else do you do?
Phone a friend.
Phone a friend. I've done that a lot. In the college classes, it's amazing. They don't talk as much as you guys and girls. And so I said, okay, phone a friend. Well, I want to choose, and they take 30 seconds to choose somebody. Okay, so phone a friend. What else you do?
I make them defend their position out loud.
Give me an example.
Like in reading, we're doing To Kill a Mockingbird right now, and I'm trying to get them to expound on their answers instead of, I make them rewrite the question and the answer.
Okay.
Teach them to do that, but sometimes I try to shorten it up, and I said, I agree with Atticus, period. Instead of like, defend, you have to
Defend your answer. Okay, I like that. Okay. What else you do?
To go on his, I just say why.
Why do you believe that? Or just the answer why? Okay. What else? Surely we have more than that.
Have them write their questions down and take
Have them write their questions down so they can ask them, so they thought about them.
say it out loud.
Okay? Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Write your question down and turn it in. Okay? That's good. What else? Come on, 26 teaching strategies. You've got to come up with more than 5. Okay.
I teach art, so I'll show them what I want them to do, and then when they get started on theirs, they can come up with their own ideas and expound on their own.
Okay, so show them how to get started.
They cannot use my idea.
Okay, but you show them how to get started.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? A couple more things.
Look, I use study guides this is my first year teaching social studies, American history, 8th grade level. So I have been looking for strategies. So I make them take notes, but I give them these study guides, and I put pressure on them.
Now, when you say study guides, you've given them kind of an outline, but
they have an outline, plus they have to create their own.
okay.
But I make them. I put pressure on them as a group. Like it might be 4 or 6 people in a group,
Okay.
and they have to come up with the answers in the study guide. They all have to contribute. So I'm going around listening. And I put pressure on them. Okay, you have 3 minutes to do this.
Okay.
First of all, I'm trying to eliminate any
Study guides. Okay. Compare, contrast. Okay, now we're starting to roll. That's 2 in less than 30 seconds.
Like when you read a story, you give an answer, and they have to come up with a question to the answer instead of.
Okay, so you give the answer and wait for the question that could have been. Jimmy Smith.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Plus, in social studies, had the advantage of my Epson projector, and the kids are creating a game. So as we're reading, I have one kid at my computer typing up a question.
Okay.
And they can fill in, there are four
That's good,
questions.
yeah.
And the kids have to be able to, when we're done, the kids are going to have to be able to take this test.
Okay.
So they're creating their own test as we move along.
Create their own test. Create their own test. How about this? Anybody use a Jeopardy game in class? Like a PowerPoint Jeopardy game? Okay. Or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game on technology? Okay. Use smartboard lessons? Okay. So there's a lot of things. And we're getting tired, I can tell. Okay. Let's move on. If we're going to teach differently, should we assess differently? Now this created a conflict in my class at Tiffin yesterday. I presented this idea. These are students who are in the field and teaching for eight 3-hour sessions. And they came back and I said, if you allow a group, if you do a cooperative group, should you test them as a cooperative group? And they were violently opposed to that idea. No, it's got to all be individual. So how do you assess? If you're going to teach differently, how do you assess differently?
Projects.
Do a project, okay? What else? Test orally. Okay.
Let them tell you what they know instead of having them have to choose the correct answer and only one choice. Have it more open-ended.
An open-ended question, okay? What else? Observation. You, the teacher, okay?
Have them teach someone else.
Have them teach someone else. Don't you all agree that when you teach it, you learn it better? Have them teach something else, okay? Keep going. There's got to be at least, let's try for 2 more. So we can get, say it again? Make a portfolio, okay? Very good, very good, very good. Keep going.
Make a book.
Write a book. Make a book either electronically or okay? Right? Of course, you could give them an essay quiz, or you could give them the old stuff. It's kind of tough in math. How many people teach math? How many people read the 1989 NCTM journal said to throw out 2-column deductive proofs? Put less emphasis on those things. Let the student come up and talk to you about it. Let the student write a paragraph about it. Let the student draw a picture and analyze it. Any of you doing that? No. All right. Oh no. Mary Dociani, 2-column proofs. That's the only way people can learn it. All right. Okay. Let's move on to one more thing. And then we'll call it a day. Is that okay? One more thing. I think you as a teacher got to change if you're going to teach differentiated instruction. As an example. As an example. You might do these things already. Wait time, calling everybody in the class at least once during the class period, provide individual help, ask questions that give students a clue to an answer, but not an answer. Let that person keep pulling it out of them. Okay, what else do you do? What other behaviors do you model in your classroom? Say it again? Small group instruction. So you got groups set around, you come and talk at a group, okay? What else?
Less lecturing.
Class, say it again? Less lecturing. More dialogue between everybody, okay?
Model reading, right? So they know how to read out loud, so this is how you read.
Okay, good. Model. So you read to them, and then you've modeled it, okay? Model something to them. What else? Okay, act things out in class. What about the teacher? Do you mime? No. Maybe you should try that. As a teacher, maybe you should try being a mime for a day. You don't have to put the stuff on. Okay? Say it again. Let the students use the technology. How many agree that we are already 10 years behind the students, technology-wise?
Tell me about that.
All right. When we started technology back in the 60s with the cassettes, and then we went to the 70s and we had Bomar brain calculators. The students already knew more than I knew. And I wasn't foolish enough to try to convince anybody of that. Convince my students that I knew more. So when I started teaching programming in the 80s, and I'd come to a stumbling block, John, what do you got? Come on up. Eileen, what do you got? Come on up. So we worked together and produced things. And it's going that way now. How many people have laptops in their classrooms? All right? Kids, there's no students, yeah. That creates a big challenge for us. Do you agree? Okay. What about this? Let me throw some things that are just common sense. Common sense. Don't call attention to every negative answer. Anybody allow a student in math to keep following the progression down, even though you knew it's wrong? Got all the way down at the end and said, oh, here's our answer. How do we know if it's right? And then they go, oh, well, we do this. Oh, it's not right. But you allow them to go through the process, and then they have to go back and find it. All right? Have we done that? I presume that you give praise and you listen. Those aren't new things, I hope. Anything else that we'd want to do? Try some of these ideas. If you are not a bodily kinesthetic person, we've made a list of 3 or 4 things that are on here. Try being a bodily kinesthetic tomorrow. You might feel more uncomfortable than you ever felt in your life. But get out of that comfort zone. I am a very poor reader. I shouldn't say it that way. I'm a very slow reader, which people say that means you're not a good reader. When I was a senior in high school, I was reading at 7th grade ability. And my guidance counselor told me to go to the Army because you'll never make it. All right? But I was able to convince myself, thanks to my librarian, that if I read at my ability, because she mimicked me, you can leave. You have to leave? Okay. Yeah. She allowed me to work at my abilities to do things, and all of a sudden things started making sense. So, okay. All right, let's summarize what we've done. I won't use that. We talked about, at the beginning of the session, about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, we talked about how students have to learn differently, and we have to teach differently. We have to teach the way they learn. Then we went through Gardner's 8 multiple intelligences, came up with several ideas. Then we went through Bloom's taxonomy from knowledge to evaluation, and all of you come up with some really good ideas. And then we talked about modeling behavior as a teacher. Get out of your comfort zone. Do something. Be a mime for a day, Carol. All right? Paint that face up. Okay? Get out of the model the behavior you want your students to model. Okay? And then assess differently. Whatever that means. You can't give, I always oppose this idea, you can't give essays and essays and essays and essays and then give a multiple choice test for a final. Doesn't make sense. You got to assess differently. Okay? Now, I am by no means an expert at differentiating equation. I enjoy it. I think I listen to my classes and try to tune into what they're doing. I'm extremely uncomfortable sometimes when I teach because I try to get out of that zone. Sometimes I sit down in the group and they're uncomfortable with me then. All right? But I'm uncomfortable sitting there. But I try to do those things because I need to model the behavior I want them to do. Okay. Time's up. I usually stop when I'm done, and I'm done. So thanks a lot for coming. I hope that at least one idea was productive. And if you do want a PowerPoint or a copy of everything, send me an email. Just